Well, this funding actually builds on some previous work that was undertaken through the Soil CRC, who did some surveys and got some data back from in excess of 500 farmers in the Eyre Peninsula region. And one of the challenges that they were facing was how were they going to engage more young landowners and landholders and to be able to take them on a drought-resilient journey. So to really get them engaged with what's going on around these drought hubs and the drought funding that is starting to filter through, but to really be part of the process and to be able to hear their voices on what their grassroots needs are. So it really is an engagement project to bring young farmers together with more experienced older farmers and help them to become more drought resilient into the future.
Did those results surprise you about what the farmers wanted?
I could probably bounce that to Amanda, but I'm not surprised that it is harder to engage with some of the younger farmers. And farmers in general are very busy and they have a plethora of information coming at them constantly. And by the end of the day, having to sort of waddle through all of that information can be quite challenging. So it's not surprising, and that's not unfamiliar for other regions as well. But it is absolutely critical that all voices are at the table and all challenges are heard and that we all walk the journey together. And so to be able to have this opportunity to take younger farmers through a program that will set them up to be more drought resilient and introduce them to practices, such as regenerative agricultural practices that certainly do build landscape function, and things, some of the new enterprises such as carbon farming and the various market mechanisms that are starting to present themselves with huge opportunities for future farming generations. It's literally there's new economies and there's new, new practices that can be undertaken on farms that won't only increase their productivity and their bottom line, but actually present opportunities for new enterprises into the future.
Why Southern Cross University? How does this tie in with what's happening here on the Eyre Peninsula?
Well, I guess Southern Cross University has a very solid reputation in collaboration and capacity building right across Australia. When we were undertaking the Farming Together program, we worked with some 28,000 farmers, fishers and foresters in every region and every primary industry in Australia. So we do have a very solid reputation on how to be able to do these things, how to build capacity and how to create impact and scale. Also, we have a lot of expertise in soil health, plant health, regenerative agriculture, having the leading agricultural course now in Australia with very large numbers of students coming into the regenerative space, and also with our understanding around carbon sequestration and the various market mechanisms involved with carbon sequestration and biodiversity credits and offsets. And these are all sorts of areas that are going to be of interest to young farmers. So, given our technical expertise and coupled with our ability to really cement that capacity building and getting people to work together, we're doing a number of similar projects all over Australia, and we can bring that knowledge from other regions, some fresh eyes and fresh approaches to the projects that we undertake.
Amanda Scott, I'll come to you, and as program manager of this, how will this program actually work?
So what the great thing about this program is, Brooke, is that we can actually draw on this fantastic database of existing information that's been undertaken, as Lorraine said, by one of our colleagues at Southern Cross University, Dr. Hannah Beth-Luke, through the Soil CRC, which gives us this really good place to start and work with understanding the landscape, then working really closely with a lot of the young farmers in the region, as well as the Ag Innovation and Research Eyre Peninsula group. We're going to use a tool that's called network mapping. Now, what happens is we know that networks are the sort of glue that binds communities together, and networks are that conduit for collective action, but it's really difficult to get an accurate picture of what a network in a community actually looks like. So this network mapping tool enables us to map out some of those support networks, information networks of young farmers and present them in a visual way as like a diagnostic tool for discussion that enables some sort of uncover some hidden patterns and lets us see some connections or some gaps that perhaps we couldn't see before. So the idea is through this project, as I said, we're working really closely with partners on the ground. We're going to start mapping some of those young farmer support and information networks and present these back to farmers and to the grower group in the region for discussion and to workshop some of this. And basically the outputs from this workshop are going to be a playbook of ideas that the grower groups can use to try and engage and support younger farmers. So it's going to be looking at on-the-ground strategies that can help the grower group fast-track and supercharge the relationship building, create that really supportive infrastructure that underpins those really critical networks, and also build capacity in champions across that community so that when this project's finished, there's a whole lot of strategies, there's a whole lot of people in place, the supporting infrastructure has been built to enable this to keep going and keep building itself after this project.
Is it, I guess, just simply put, just trying to keep as much information as possible so it's not lost into the future, that it is passed on? Absolutely.
And also perhaps, as I said, this network mapping tool enables you to look at things a little bit in a different way that perhaps you hadn't before. So new insights. We can see, for example, where there might be blockages in where communication's not reaching the young farmers, or we can also identify some of these champions, and they may be people, they may be events, they may be organisations that are really connecting with these young farmers, and we can help channel more information and support through these champions.
Is it going to be something set up like with an app or a website, or is it just about trying to gather this information and share it across a range of different areas?
I think what's most useful to the farmer groups and the young farmers in that region is to give them this suite of strategies that they will be able to draw and then utilise. But taking those learnings further through our work in Farming Together, the Regen Ag Alliance and the Drought Hub, we'd love to share those learnings, those opportunities and those strategies to a much broader network across the country. So that gives a lot more people the opportunity to maybe try some things that they hadn't thought of before that may work in their region to better connect young farmers.
And as you said there, it's something that can be shared across, the other drought regions.
Yeah, absolutely. We would say, obviously, things are really context specific and different communities will require different strategies, but this can really spark and encourage people to give new things a go in their region as sort of an inspiration.